When it comes to marketing stunts, there are some movies that really have a go big or go home strategy. Sometimes these marketing ploys are epic and make you want to go see the movie, and sometimes they are just very, very bizarre, but still make you want to go see the movie. In this video, we are going to take a look at 15 of the most over-the-top PR stunts for movies and TV shows, and if they actually worked or not. Let's start off with one of the best and most recent promotional stunts, that is Rick and Morty's team up with Wendy's. Rick and Morty teamed up with the fast food chain at one of their locations in Panorama City, California, creating an epic pop-up installation with an immersive drive-thru topped off with an inflatable Rick. The restaurant changed its name to Morty's, altered their branding to emulate Morty himself, and changed their menu to the custom Wubba Lubba Grub Grub, which featured tons of Rick and Morty style food and beverages such as the Mellow Yellow Portal Time Lemon Juice and the Mellow Yellow Berry Jamboree drinks, and most importantly, Pickle Rick Frosties, which is a neon green pickle flavored Frosty with a dill pickle garnish. I don't know, road trip anyone? But Rick and Morty isn't the only animated show to come up with a brilliant pop-up installation, with The Simpsons also taking over a franchise and changing it to their style. For The Simpsons Movie, the series took over a number of 7-Elevens across the US and turned them into real-life Quickie Marts, where you could pick up pink frosted donuts, Duff beer, and even Buzz Cola squishies. Although I doubt they sold an all syrup super squishy. How much of an impact the real life Quickie Marts had on the marketing front is unclear, but seeing as the movie made $536.4 million at the box office, it's pretty safe to say that the movie did pretty well for itself. When it comes to promoting a movie, no one quite does it better than Sacha Baron Cohen. Whether it's spilling ashes all over Ryan Seacrest for The Dictator, or trying to enter the White House to talk to George Bush to promote Borat, or even sailing a giant 40 by 20 foot inflatable Borat in a mankini on top of a 110 foot barge across the Toronto waterfront for the Borat sequel, the man knows what he's doing. But one of the best pieces of marketing has to be for the movie Bruno, where Cohen, in character as Bruno, flew in on cables at the 2009 MTV Movie Awards before falling on the rap god himself, Eminem. God status debatable. Cohen isn't the only actor to find himself in a giant statue formed by a city's waterfront, with a 25-foot statue of the one and only Jeff Goldblum placed by London's Tower Bridge. To celebrate the 25th anniversary of Jurassic Park, the franchise decided to celebrate by creating a statue of one of their stars. Although for some reason they opted against doing a statue of a T-Rex like you might expect, and instead modeled it after Jeff in the famous shirtless scene. And it is perfection. If I ever become a millionaire, yeah, I know what I'm buying first. Jurassic Park isn't the only Jeff Goldblum movie that really went out on a limb when it comes to promoting itself. Replicating the stunt that Orson Welles pulled for War of the Worlds, Independence Day created a fake 30-minute news broadcast which found itself interrupted by an alien invasion. The producers used footage from the movie to make it look as real as possible, and apparently it did cause some panic amongst audiences. See, this is why people have trust issues. Chronicle also looked to try and fool people when promoting their movie. And what better way to market a film about flying people than to have people fly across one of the biggest cities in the world? New York City, baby. Of course, the people weren't real. They were RC planes in the shape of humans, and they were used to trick passers-by that they were indeed flying people above them. How effective the marketing was is unclear, but it made a lot of headlines, and seeing as how the movie made $126 million at the box office, couldn't have hurt. The Carrie remake was also another movie that tried to fool audiences into people with superpowers that didn't really exist. Oh, because people with superpowers don't actually exist. MGM set up hidden cameras in a coffee shop in Manhattan and had customers believe that a girl had actual telekinetic powers, and they seemingly fell for it, with some of them freaking out hard. Well played, MGM. Well played. One of the most famous examples of big PR stunts has to be the campaign performed by the Blair Witch Project. Producers managed to, produce a huge amount of noise around the project, as there were many who believed that it was an actual documentary and that 3 students had gone missing during the witch hunt. They did this by firstly convincing IMDb to list the actors as presumed dead. They generated tons of missing person flyers and placed them across the US, and they made sure that none of the actors appeared at any of the premieres. Despite only having a budget of $20,000, the movie went on to make just shy of $250 million. Another horror movie that marketed itself on the supposed death of its stars is House of Wax, although in hindsight, it was pretty mean. When the movie was made in 2005, Paris Hilton was at the peak of her stardom, but that also meant she was also one of the most globally hated. So Warner Brothers decided to cast Paris in the movie and promote it by killing her off. They even made shirts saying "Watch Paris Die" in a bid to get people to watch it, and although it didn't pull in Blair Witch numbers, it did make over 80 mil. Following how successful the Carrie marketing was, Devil's Due decided to prank innocent passersby for their movie by having a devil baby attack pedestrians. The video, which has been viewed over 60 million times, features a terrifying animatronic demon baby hidden in a carriage, jumping up and scaring people in New York as they came to check if the baby was okay. It's a cruel prank, but admittedly pretty darn funny. However, it didn't have the effect they would have wanted at the box office when it took in only $36.9 million. You guys remember chat roulette? Yeah, that used to be a big thing, didn't it? So, deciding to make the most of the site's popularity, The Last Exorcism created a fake video which shows an actress seductively unbuttoning her shirt until she is quickly possessed, her eyes rolling back in her head before leaping towards camera before a URL for the movie's site popped up on the screen. Yeah, I can imagine that was pretty terrifying for anyone witnessing that for the first time. For anyone who has seen the movie Office Space, you will know it is a comedy about the soul-crushing nature of working in an office environment and how it feels like you're trapped in that cubicle for the rest of your life.
Hello, Peter. What's happening?
Well, when marketing the movie, they decided to take it to a super meta level and make this real by having a man trapped inside of a cube for a whole week, having to perform typical office tasks such as answering calls and filing paperwork. For the 1956 movie, The 10 Commandments, director Cecil B. DeMille decided to promote the movie in kind of a biblical way. DeMille recreated the 10 Commandments by making giant granite tablets with the commandments on them and then scattered them over the US in a number of different cities, which, as you can imagine, caused a number of political and legal problems. It was the 50s. Similar to War of the Worlds and Independence Day, Dracula's daughter also decided to use the news to promote their movie in an inventive way. The studio put out birth announcements in newspapers, but these weren't regular birth announcements, and instead welcomed the arrival of Dracula's daughter into the world. They even hired a woman to pretend that a supernatural force brought her back from a coma before the movie premiered in a bid to get the movie out in the zeitgeist. But one of the most famous movie marketing stunts has to be Joaquin Phoenix staying in character for 2 years for the movie I'm Still Here. Phoenix was seen acting strange leading up to the movie, with him saying he was quitting acting to pursue a career in rap and even performing a show. But the most infamous moment was when he went on Letterman, with his surreal and bizarre appearance quickly going viral. Although we can't exactly say the marketing seemed to be that effective, with the movie only pulling in about $626,000 at the box office. And finally, although this wasn't a deliberate marketing stunt, you can't deny that the controversy surrounding the interview didn't make for some great marketing. From Kim Jong-un threatening Seth Rogen and James Franco to the Sony hacks, even if you weren't a fan of the comedy duo, you'd have heard. And let's be honest, it probably made you want to see the movie.